Hey, welcome to Mike the Baptist.
Thank you.
I'm Mike the Baptist. And I used to have a last name, but something has taken over. I'm either MTB or Mike the Baptist now, but that's okay. I start stuff, I need to take it. I guess. Welcome back, Susan Jones.
Thank you very much.
You were here last week.
Yes.
Graced us with your presence. I'm glad you came back. It was
We didn't
very
run her off.
entertaining.
For
We didn't run
punishment.
her off, right?
We did not. We did not. But I suspect she thought about it a time or two, but she held her ground.
I can handle y'all.
I think you're right. Welcome to HD.
Good to see you again.
Buddy HD and I have been a year and a half or so into this and still finding out strange things about each other.
Right.
But that's okay.
I told his mom the other day, I was like, you really need to listen to Mike the Baptist because you're on the front porch sometimes.
Has she listened to it yet? Do you know?
No, she doesn't.
hasn't?
She said, I don't know how to find it. I said, I can show you.
I think if she will get in touch with me,
She'll have some comments.
She will
for
have
you.
some,
yeah, we may have to have her come over here one day.
Oh, that would be special.
Because her belt buckle and hairpiece story is one of my.
That's what I told her. I said, he told that story. She got tickled, started laughing.
Oh, it's so good, so good, and I've she comes up fairly regularly.
Yes, she does.
It's story time here at Mike
She's
the
quite
Baptist.
entertaining.
Yep. Where were we? Did I introduce you all?
You
Yes,
said
you
it's Mike the
did.
Baptist.
www.mikethebaptist.com. It's a website. You can find all the old episodes, the new episodes, stuff to buy. Not a lot of pictures on there. Maybe I need to put more pictures on there.
Yes, I'm sure that would help
That'll
traffic.
draw them in.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Anyway, just go there and tool around. Send us an email, comments@mikethebaptist.com, and send me some questions. I'm going to keep harping about this until I get them, because I want to be able to sit here when people are across the table from me like you two and have a question here that catches you totally off guard that somebody wants to know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Now, I do know, I told you a couple of weeks ago or so, or last week, that a lady had approached me in public, not through email, with a question for whoever's here. Mm-hmm. But like I told her then, and I have not heard from her yet by email, that I'm not going to use it because I asked for email, not a public
We
question.
have to have standards.
We have to have standards, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
And I know the question, and it's a good one. It's a
Okay.
serious question, which I sometimes don't know how to deal with those as much as the funny ones. But actually, I'm kidding, I do. But anyway, I'm not going to share it yet.
Now, we might take a written question, not through email, if it came with a plate of cookies or something.
We will take that as long as you write it on something,
Yep.
and we can read it. Speaking of Susan Jones, I don't know if we have a date yet, HD, but we're going to do a live taping of Mike the Baptist with the Preacher's Wives coming up at my church pretty soon. I think we were working on getting a date that is available, but I can tell by the look on your face you don't have the date yet.
I'm like,
So
did
Did we talk about that?
We did, but
Yeah, I know. When we
Yeah.
get a date, we'll share it here.
send it to me in writing.
Send it
An
to you in
email.
writing.
Send me an email at hd@templetoday.com.
There you go. hd@templetoday.com. And anyway, but we'll advertise that appropriately when it comes up. And I encourage you to come. We did it live with the guys some time ago. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was good.
I think some people were not quite sure what was going on, and I think with this program, there are still a good number of people that are not quite sure what's going on there. They know something's happening, but
We're not.
I'm
quite
not sure y'all know
we're
what's
not
going
quite
on.
sure either. So see, it all works out.
Right.
It makes for a good crowd of people all getting together. But anyway, we covered that, and you know what's funny? We've never done here. I guess we do. It's like announcements. Church people can't get together without making announcements. Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Any
or
gathering,
eating.
you have to make announcements.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go have prayer requests. You have to have announcements, and you have to sing a song at some point.
Sure.
Isn't that funny? I just thought I'd point that out. Not that I'm looking to change any of that at churches, but it's just an interesting
Consistent.
observation.
Don't get us out of our comfort zone.
Right.
Exactly. We talked about that last week. Hey, this week, speaking of the front porch, nobody brought that up yet, but this is a segue. So today on the front porch,
Is that one of those little things you ride on that you lean back?
Little segue.
Segue.
Yep.
Thank you.
I would like to talk about something kind of serious.
Okay.
Of course, HD is here, so it will be here in a
stay
minute,
that
but
way.
we'll start out that way. I'd like to talk about things that your kids have either given you as a gift or Susan, made for you and gave to you that have special meaning to you. And I know that Susan has a story about this. You can tell it if you want to, but she was maybe searching for
Yeah.
something meaningful that her kids had done for her earlier. But anyway, we'll let you explain all that.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it'd be neat to talk about something that they, made for you. And to help you out, we'll expand that to did for you. That's like a gift. A gift of time is the same as a gift. But anyway, let's talk about those things. And I don't know which of the two of you now to let go first, because both of them, it's probably going to be entertaining, so I can't really decide.
Start with her, because I'm kind of blank over here. I'm like,
oh, thanks. So that terrible.
Do you want
Sounds like our
me to
kids didn't
start?
do anything
Yeah,
to her.
I can start.
Yeah, why don't you
give us
start?
some ideas.
Okay, so
Give us some ideas of what our kids gave us.
so you may talk about your kids.
Yeah.
Because obviously we don't remember.
This is entertaining already, and we just barely got started. Okay, so look, in my wallet, in my back pocket, is a couple of little folded up things. When kids are in real early in school or churches, one of the two, I don't know where these came from, but a teacher somewhere usually has a kid make a little booklet thing of things that they promise they're going to do someday, or things they want to give you or something.
Yeah.
I have those. Anything like that I've ever gotten is in my possession somewhere. And a couple of those are in my wallet. So those things have great meaning to me, and I keep stuff like that until it wears out and you can't read it anymore. So anything my kids have ever made for me, I really like. I really like that stuff. There's stuff all over my house, that odd-looking little things that they make for me. My son, I don't remember if this was in school or in a church, which would be our church, but I don't remember if it was in church or in school, but they had all the kids make a wax figure of their hand. They covered their hand in wax, and then they got their hand out of it. So there's this purple wax figure of my son's hand that really meant a lot to me. Until I come home from somewhere one day, and it was sitting up in a bookshelf on a hot day, and the hand was drooped over the edge of the shelf, and it just had melted into this really eerie looking. But anyway, that was funny. But yeah, I have stuff all over my house that they have made, drawn, painted.
Yeah.
The attic above you at Red Oak Sound is filled with plastic tubs, and a lot of those tubs are heavy because I also kept all of their schoolwork. And I'm talking about pretty much all of it. Magazines they bought. So if ever that comes crashing in on your head, that's what it is. That's what's going to kill you right there.
So if this thing starts to burn, it's going to be like a big cigar.
It's going to go up.
It's going to be like a cigar and just smolder for days.
Yes, it's going to go up. So anyway, those are things that my kids have given me, and my kids over the years have bought me things, but it's like it's hard to buy me something that's not here already. Because I'm a little crazy. So over the years, I've collected a lot of things. But so entertainingly enough, they buy me these odd things now, which are just hilarious to me and great. Okay, so that's it. And now we'll move across the table to...
Well, I mean, I did the same thing. I have tubs of the kids' schoolwork that I kept all their little drawings and things, and I'm planning to go back through them soon and narrow them down.
We may or may not have their belly button that fell off.
I did.
Cord.
I had their umbilical cord for a while.
Isn't that nasty?
Wow.
I had all their teeth, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept all that for a long
Gonna make
time.
a creepy doll out of
And
it.
I put it in a bag and put it in this little box,
That's
keepsake
nasty.
box that was in his drawer. And he got it out, and we were cleaning stuff out. He's like, "Why do I have this with all the children's teeth?" And I was like, "I don't know. We can throw that away. Like, I'm not
I've
as
never heard of
attached to
that.
it anymore." Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they put them under their pillow.
Do you realize what you just said? I'm not attached to this anymore.
Yeah, neither
That's
were
the
they.
cord.
Yeah, I guess so.
They aren't either.
Oh, well,
That's
I'll show their
hilarious.
teeth.
That's good right there.
Some of their teeth, but that too.
First haircut,
I
Little
didn't
bit of
do
hair.
that,
Yeah,
though.
a lot of people do
I think my
that.
mom did that with
Your
my
mom,
sister.
maybe.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
A lot of
but
people do that. Yeah.
I think it's just kind of like with their teeth. It's like I don't really know what to do with them. It felt
Trash.
wrong to
You
throw
hate to
them
throw it
away.
away.
And
Yeah.
same
Nobody's
thing with the
gonna
cord.
use them.
Because they gave
We
it to
gonna
me
put
from
them
the
on a necklace
hospital.
like you're some cannibal tribe.
Well, you should.
What's nasty?
Well, they
Indians
kept
did
their
that.
umbilical cord at the hospital and gave it to me. So you kind of feel like, I guess I'm supposed to keep these.
Now, wait a minute. I have never heard of that.
I mean,
Yeah.
not the whole cord, but they clamp it.
Well,
And
not the whole
so,
cord.
well, I guess they didn't give it to me at the hospital. It's when it fell off.
Fell off.
It's the part that falls off after they're a couple
Anything
weeks
that falls
old or
off, you
whatever.
should just throw it in the trash. I'm gonna
Well,
throw it outside. A raccoon will eat it.
I've never heard.
So there's something meaningful they
heard of
gave
that.
me. Their umbilical cord in their teeth.
That's nasty.
So they just reach over there and just hand it to you and said, "Here."
No, in remembering correctly, it's what fell off. It's the part of the umbilical cord that's
Right.
left on their belly
Yes.
that they clamp it. And so when it falls off, you have this piece of the umbilical cord and a clamp on the end.
Right.
And for whatever reason, when it fell
They
off,
handed it to you.
no, I kept
She
it.
kept it.
I don't know why. It's now
You
gone.
must
But
have been
anyway,
doped up really good.
I
or
don't know.
You know,
something.
some people like, here's my gallbladder. I'm like, why
Right.
do you keep that stuff?
I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, it's gone now. When we went through the house, I was like, yeah, I don't know why I kept that now, and I don't need it now. So
That's
we can do it
hilarious.
other
You know,
way.
several years ago when I had
That's
kidney
hilarious.
stones, I had kidney stones and I was really struggling with them, and
Yes.
apparently I whined about it too
Yes.
much.
Uh-huh.
And I also had a little fish tank in my office. And
Did you drop them in there?
No,
Oh.
one of the ladies came
In the gravel.
One of the ladies came in and she handed me a little baggie, and it had these big stone, like gravel stones in it.
Right.
She goes, I passed these, wasn't no big deal. And I thought it was funny, so I put them in my fish tank.
You did?
Yeah,
God. See, I learned something all the time about it.
I just thought it was funny.
I thought this was going to be so sentimental,
It is.
kind of boring, but sentimental. Nope. You know, some time ago, I thought I might be developing kidney stones because I was having pains out in the driveway. It just took me to my knees. Like, whoa. But I was prepared because had I actually passed them, I was going to take those and have them encased in acrylic and give them to my buddies that I golf with for golf ball markers. You know, like on the green, my kidney stones. Wouldn't that be a great?
That's a very sentimental gift.
Yeah,
Very personal.
kind of like umbilical cord. Don't look at me like I'm crazy. You kept an umbilical
But it was
cord.
my children. I don't know.
I'm not putting that in my pocket.
No, I don't know. I mean,
Wow.
sentimental, but I have their school papers. I have all that. And anything they've made me, I've kept. So I have the odd looking, little pottery vases around places.
Right.
And I still have a little frame on my makeup table that says I love you, Mom, and it's 2 little pieces of paper cut, and it just has in black marker I love you and then Mom. And Micah made it in like Mother's Day out or something, and so it's on there. And he gave me a little stuffed dog that he bought at the dollar, buy your parents Christmas presents at school, and it's still in my makeup table. So I do have stuff.
You do have
But
some. Yeah, I was
do have
worried
things,
for you at
but
first.
I can't think of anything. There's nothing. I was trying to come up with a really big thing.
Oh, yeah.
That they
Yeah.
gave me that really meant something. And they've given me a lot of things and
Right.
things that have been very special and very important. And I love what they make when they make me things when they were little. But it's really neat even now when they're now self-supporting adults, which is fabulous. But when they really,
We still don't get good gifts.
no, we do. But when it doesn't have to be anything big, but when I can tell they actually really thought about it
Yeah.
and thought what would Mom really like,
Yeah.
and even if it's nothing necessarily expensive, but they know I would like it,
Yeah.
that means a lot to me. And then they've all been really, really good at that. Yeah.
Do you have any Jesus house shoes? Did they ever give you any Jesus house shoes?
No. Mm-mm. You have some?
I think my wife got a pair of Jesus house shoes one time, which I just thought was hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
I think I remember that right. But
That is pretty funny. No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm, I don't have that. Not
nice.
that.
Well, that was very nice, Susan.
Yeah.
And I'm glad
Yeah,
you
my kids are
remembered
good
some
to me.
things.
I know, right? I know they've given me a lot of stuff. Yeah.
HD, do you recall anything?
See?
Right? Kind of put you on the spot with some of that stuff.
I know.
I was thinking about, so I am not a skilled craftsman when it comes to woodworking, but I do like to work with stuff, build cabinets. I mean, not like house cabinets, but just build stuff. I've got all kinds of wood scraps to build stuff, and so I do remember the boys when they were young. They'd go out in the shop and they'd build me something. It's like a birdhouse that's crooked, or Micah took a 2x6 and carved some stuff in it with a wood burning set. Some of that stuff I kept some of that stuff along the way, and then after a while you're like, what am I doing with this? I can't keep all this stuff. But one of the things that was really funny, and I'm older now, so you can't remember things that happened way back, but we were taking the grandkids to Disney, and I was really hyping that up to Ellie and them, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be really a lot of fun. I said, but boy, it's really expensive. I said, we're going to be broke. And she went home and she was really worried that I was going to be broke. And so she made her mama open up her piggy bank and get $1 out and she wanted Papa to have this dollar because she did not want me to be broke. And she brought it to me and explained to me, now, Papa, this is your dollar, and I'm giving you this dollar. This is your dollar, and you've got to keep it. I don't want you to use it because I don't want you to be broke. Well, I put it in a frame and put it up in my office at home, just thought that was pretty sweet that she, with thinking she didn't want Papa to be broke. So, yeah, they've done some cool things.
I was about to say, until you got to the end of your story, that if you don't still have that dollar, I'm gonna.
Oh no, it's framed and in his office. So
that's pretty neat.
One of his granddaughters.
That's a very good little
grandkids are the reward for not killing your kids.
Right?
I think
I
so.
love my kids. I do.
Yeah.
But golly, I think it's probably because we're in our 20s and 30s and we're high strung anyway. And you're stressed out trying to make it, and then so you just want to. Mostly, you just want to whip them.
You're a lot calmer by the time
You're a whole lot calmer by the time the
grandkids
kids come around.
Yeah.
It's not in this room, but usually by my. I can get a shot over there from the street. Usually by my easel over here, where that painting. I'm going to finish it someday. It's got to have a couple bicycles, but I'll get there. But there's usually a little wooden table that sits there that holds my paintbrushes. And if I'm not mistaken, my son Michael, when he was little, was out in the garage with me one day, and we just took some scraps and he helped me make that little table. It is not level, and I don't care.
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
It's not over there. You can see how much it means to me. Okay, this is very nice. Very nice little front porch visit. Did I even say front porch a little while ago?
I don't know. Say it one more time.
Yeah, I think you did. You said it's a segue, remember?
To the front porch.
Since you mentioned front porch, we'll take go to the front porch, and he said it's a Segway, and that's something you ride.
Good memory. We did. So okay, just want to make sure.
That was the front porch.
Got that. We have to stick to the rules. It's Mike the Baptist.
That's
we have to stick to the rules. Hey, speaking of rules, no, that's not the way to talk about the Bible.
There's rules in there.
There are rules in there.
You should keep them.
Yes.
Okay, so
yes,
we're going to stick to the rules. Talk about some stuff found in the Bible. We'll be back in a minute.
You'll never hear us say at Mike the Baptist that you need our logo t-shirts or hoodies. Just like you wouldn't hear us say that you need Barry White music. But now that Mike the Baptist has logo coffee mugs, we are a little tempted to point out that coffee would only have to taste better out of something that special, or a good hot cocoa, or a rich, smooth cappuccino in one of those brand new 11 or 15 ounce coffee mugs with that warm and inviting Mike the Baptist logo with the fake neon lettering. No, we'll never tell you that you need stuff, but we might remind you that it's not a sin to buy stuff like that, and that a little of the money you spend goes toward keeping Mike the Baptist on the air and in your head like a good Barry White album turned up to 7 while you do your taxes or trim those hedges. Find out more about the new logo coffee mugs and our t-shirts and hoodies with funny little sayings and our logo at www.mikethebaptist.com/merchandise.
So you can go to Books A Million. You can go to Amazon on your internet, on the web, and buy books, and buy books, and buy books. You can buy self-help books. You can buy cookbooks. You can buy a lot of books. You know what I'm fixing to say. But the Bible stands out amongst any of them because it's got all of that stuff in there. Every single topic you could imagine buying another book about is covered in the Bible. I promise you, it's all in there. I suspect it's because the creator of everything inspired the book called the Bible, which would include anything he created in there. It's just fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I'd just like to talk about the Bible briefly before we talk about the Bible because it really is fascinating. It's such a good thing.
Absolutely.
Feel better already, don't you all?
Absolutely.
We're going to turn it over to you all, and you can talk about some
Ewan's.
stuff we found in the Bible.
Well, on the front porch, we talked about remembering things that your kids had done for you, and remembering is important for us. But one of the things that we see in the Exodus account is God keeps reminding Moses and the people to remember that he is the God that brought them out of slavery. So why is it important that we need to stop and remember what God has done for us? How does that help you, I guess, in your journey in life to remember what God's done for you?
Well, for me, sometimes it helps me remember what not to do. When I've had struggles, it'll remind me, hey, don't do that again, dummy. And then other times when I'm struggling with something and I have a new, something difficult I'm going through, if I can remember back to the other times when I've struggled and had, been down and been frustrated or angry or whatever, that it worked itself out over time, and that I can look back on things and see God's hand woven throughout whatever was going on that I didn't see when I was in the middle of it because I was too distracted. But it helps remind me then at the next problem, I'm not near as upset about it or uptight about it because I know He's with me again, and it'll come out. It'll come out okay, and He'll be with me, and
isn't that maybe why these stories are in the Bible? In the Bible itself,
Sure.
It's just filled with story after story after story, and we all get together as church people, friends, talk about those stories.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny to me because I know like Lifeway is the company that produces a lot of material for the Southern Baptist denomination, and I get tickled a lot sitting around thinking about there's some dude down there who's having to take this verse out of Deuteronomy,
right,
and make that relate to me,
yeah,
or you, or everybody. So it's just entertaining me thinking about the pressure that's on that dude's head to try to make this somehow relate to us today. And
Really,
this-
what could that be like?
yeah, really,
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
See?
Would you have any idea
I
what
don't
that's
have
like?
a clue what
HG?
you're talking about.
Well, see, I
Right.
stuff like that entertains me because it's so.
It's very entertaining, isn't it, baby?
Right?
But all those stories in the Bible, I blab a lot and talk big, but all those stories in the Bible do have a relation
Sure.
to us. But I think it's just because it's some other human's experience, and we're all looking for something we can relate to a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, anybody that says they're not, they're lying to you. We're all looking for. We all want to fit in. We all want to know why we're here. We all want to know where we're going. We all want some sort of assurance that we're going to be okay. And like you said, you think back to these church people call them markers. I'm going to buzz that. I've heard it called markers a lot in church. Times in your life where things happen in your life. If you didn't have that to look back to, every time you got in some sort of a mess, you wouldn't have nothing to turn to.
Right.
But all those things, I think it's just like the stories in the Bible. They're there so you can look at them, kind of compare the best you can. You know, the cultures
Right.
are different than the stories in there, but you're looking for the inner stuff to compare to. If you didn't have all that, the markers and the stories, you'd be really at a loss, I think.
Right.
You'd go crazy every time something came up.
Well, yeah, because it would all be fresh and new, and I've never been here before.
Exactly.
I don't know what to do. But when you've lived through it before, or again, like you said, you look back in Scripture, and they've struggled through similar situations, and God was faithful to them. It's an encouragement.
There's only a few situations I think you can kind of get in, if you think about it. The particulars are all different, but there's only really a few situations you can get in that can really cause you some stress.
Yeah.
I look for the simple things, but like you said, the older I get and the more I go through, the easier it is to go through something if you trust that what happened before will happen again, and it usually will.
Yeah, it changes your perspective. I don't know if it's easier to go through it, but your perspective while you're going through it.
It's easier
just
to wait.
different. Yeah.
It's
yeah.
easier to wait till it's over.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it will be.
When you remember that God's been faithful in the past, it helps you with your present situation. And
Doesn't he say somewhere in there to remember, think about those things?
Yeah.
How does that go? Do you know specifically?
Dwell on those things?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're supposed to, and we're called to meditate on Scripture, and we're called to, obviously be in prayer, but all those things are about reminding us who God is.
Yeah.
And, I even know people today that are disappointed that God didn't show up in the way that they thought he should have. But when you step back from and look at the big picture, pain is a reality. When you're in the pain of it, good gracious, you have all these questions. Why this and why didn't God do that? But when you're able to step back from it objectively and look at the bigger picture, you're like, okay, that seems to make a little sense. Like, God is at least consistent, you know. And I think that's important because we live in a world that seems so inconsistent. And so I think that's why God says, I want you to go back and remember what I've done for you in the past. It'll help you. It helps you in your day-to-day walk with Him. It helps you in your struggles.
Yeah. A lot of times I think when you're going through those struggles, you can feel really alone. But if you go to Scripture, you look back on your history and remember those times, like you said, what God has done for you and that He is fighting for you, even when a lot of times we feel like He's against us. He's not. But I tend to try and control things and fix things and try. I feel like a lot of times in my life that I can handle and I can make this okay and I can say the right thing, do the right thing and fix this all over. But there's just some situations we come across where there's nothing we can do. It's outside of our control. But it's some struggles that I've had. The scripture that God gave me was in Exodus, actually. It was in some of these passages we've read this week. In Exodus 14:14, where it says, God will fight for you, you must be quiet. And I have it on a little card. It was in one of our Bible studies we did in our women's groups, and I've got it in my windowsill, and it's been there probably 3 years now. And it was one of those things where I kept trying to fix a situation and make it okay, and it really didn't matter what I did. I couldn't fix it. It was out of my control. And so I had that day where I just said, God, I'm going to give this to you. I've done all I can do. I can't do any more. Nothing's getting better. It's getting worse with the way I'm trying to fix it. It's driving me insane, and I can't live with this. I can't keep vexing on this thing. And I took that. God gave me that scripture. It was the coolest thing, the way He gave it to me. And I put it in my windowsill so it reminds me every day where I see that. And that's what I did. I will fight for you. You must be quiet. And that's what He told me. You shut up and you let me fight your battle. Remember what I've done for you in the past. Remember what I've done for all these people in Scripture. I got this. And you don't know what's working, and I may be doing something that's even not about you. It may be about these people out here that you're having issues with. I'm working on them, and it's going to take me to intervene, not you. And so I did. I released it to Him, and I have seen over the past 3 years those situations. I mean, He's done so much more than what I could do.
It's like I'm not even in the room. She's talking about me, and here I am right here.
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't looking
we do
over
have,
that.
yeah.
I could tell when you kept going.
Yeah, I wasn't.
It's Him, isn't it? It's Him.
No, it's not Him. But it does
Trying to
get
send
easier.
secret signals.
Right. Some days God says, you just be quiet. I got this.
But we forget that
Yeah.
God is not only in our yesterday and our today, He's already in our tomorrows, and we're not even there yet. And I know from my perspective, men want to fix things. Oh my gosh, men want to fix things.
We do. We're fixers.
And I know in my world, I've already in my head run through, okay, I got to go to this meeting, and I know this clown's going to say this. I know this goofball over here is going to say this. I know this dude's going to be asleep, and if this one says this, I'm going to say this. And if this one does this, I'm going.
Right.
You're always playing this game of chess in your head, so that you can get what you want out of it, so to speak. Way that you spiritualize it. Because what I got in my mind is right, God. I know this is right. So what I have found is you can worry yourself to death with that stuff and honestly cause more harm. And what I found is it's kind of like if you just trust Him. And I don't know that you can make yourself not think some of those things.
You're going to think. Yeah, you're
you're
human. You're going
you got to
think.
think some of those things. But I do know there was a situation that happened several years ago at church, and it was one of those things where I think I said in the last segment, there's a lot of black and white, and then there's all these gray areas. Man, there was this thing that was plopped in my lap, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this. I absolutely do not know what to do with it. And so what do? We called a meeting, right? And I was dreading the whole day, the meeting. Because I was like, this one's going to say this, and this one's going to say that, and this is going to be. There may be some punches thrown.
It'll be ugly.
I was just expecting this is going to get really bad. So we get in there, and everybody was a little tense, and I was like, okay, God, you got to show up, dude. But before anybody even opened their mouth, this guy said, hey, and I thought he was going to be one that's going to be mad. He said, "Hey, I just need to tell everybody something. We really don't even need to meet tonight because I've talked to this person, and this is what they were told, and so we don't even really need to be talking about this tonight." I was like, thank you, God. I've been upset all day trying to figure out what I was going to say, how I was going to respond. I didn't have to say anything. And when you look at Moses, we've been reading about Moses. Again, you think about this calling, go back to Egypt. I want you to go take 2 million people out of Egypt. Moses in the back of his head's going, okay, God, how much flour and eggs and milk am I going to have to take to feed these boys breakfast tomorrow? And how am I going to walk into the then known largest army in the world? How am I going to walk into these guys? We don't have weapons. We're not trained for warfare. How am I going to do this? And God shows him a little bit of who he is when he says, lay your staff down and then turn into a snake. I'm just going to be honest, at that point I'll be like, I'm out. When he said pick that back up, I'm like, I'm out. But then he's like, put your hand in your cloak and then pull it out, and it had leprosy, and then put it back in, it was gone. God was showing him that he was going to use unusual methods to accomplish the task. And I think what amazes me sometimes are the unusual ways that God accomplishes what I've tried to process in my mind of how I'm going to fix this and what I'm going to do. And usually at the end of it, if I look back and remember what I see pretty consistently, that didn't go anywhere near the way I thought it was going to go. So I think that's part of the reason of remember. Go back and look.
Do you think, too, in thinking about remembering and in our lives and in the Israelis crossing through the Red Sea, as part of that remembering, going back to Exodus and the Israelites, them telling them to remember, and in our lives when we go back and remember the things that God's done for us, do you think part of the remembering is so that we can tell the next generation or tell other people, not just necessarily for us?
Absolutely, because not every generation is going to get to go through the Red Sea.
Right.
So there are those big moments. We talk about at Temple, there's those big moments that we like to go back and talk about, when God called those 50 people to start the church. We bring that up quite regularly because not all of us got to experience that, but we do need to be reminded of that, who we are. How do we get to this point? How God's been faithful in our past. That's a big part of this journey because Paul tells us we walk by faith and not by sight. Now, sight means looking forward, but it doesn't mean we can't look back. So we do have a sight coming from behind. We know how God's been faithful in our past, which again just gives us that confidence that he's going to be faithful in our future. And ultimately for Christians, I'm going to lose a few battles along the way. I know I am. One of them is going to be physical death. I'm going to lose that battle one day, but I'm not going to lose the war.
Right.
Because he's already won that for us. So just go ahead and expect some disappointments along the way.
They're coming.
You're going to be disappointed. But even those things, if you can get far enough past it, you will look back and go, oh, okay, God, that's what you were doing in that. And I was a little disappointed, but wow, I see what you did through that.
When I was a real young man, I think I may have told you before this, but when I was a really young guy, just kind of starting to dabble in the music industry. A very good publisher friend of mine, I was at his house up in, he was living outside of Branson at that time. He'd gone up there and he started that Roy Clark thing. He got some of those guys to come out there, and then he built a world-class record studio. So he was somebody I really was looking up to at that time, and he was kind of bringing me along into understanding I was a songwriter and I could do that. And so I'd spend a lot of time with him. But I went through a really rough period as a young man out there, and I went up and spent an evening or two with him up there, and I'd go stay with him out at his lake house. We'd do a little writing and just talk. But I remember talking to him about my troubles at that time, and he said to me, he said, "Jackson, they can kill you, but they can't eat you." Now that's odd.
Yes.
But I've always remembered that in difficult times. The world can do a lot to you, but it can't take your life away from you, so to speak. I mean, it can only do so much to you. And I think what he was trying to say is if you sit back and look at the big picture, if you're still alive and kicking tomorrow, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I think back because we've had kids that grew up and went through this, and we remember this. I remember being 16, 17, 18-year-old and being worried to death about who you're going to the prom with and how's this going to work out, and it's got to be perfect. And then the person you wanted to go with, that didn't work out, and we saw our kids go through that, and we would kind of laugh about it. We're like, just be friends. Just go as a group of you. Don't be trying to, have this perfect night with this perfect person. Just be friends. And, what seems like such a big deal to them, to us, we look back and go, yeah, I really wish I had the money that I spent on prom. Still, I wish I had it in my pocket today, because it really wasn't that big a deal in the big scheme of but in the moment, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way our things are. Whatever's in your face right now, it's a big deal because it's staring you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
You get 5 or 6 years down the road, you'll look back and you'll be like, yeah, that was bad. That was difficult, but somehow I made it through.
But you're still there.
And
Yeah,
God's still
kicking.
blessing me. God's still working through my life, and I can see some good that's come out of it. I know we've had this conversation on this podcast before, but, one of the worst things you can do is walk through the funeral line and somebody's lost their dad and go, God's in this.
Right.
They just, they're not ready for that.
Yeah.
God had a plan in all this. Well, he does,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not ready for that in that moment. Now, down the road, they'll be able to look back and go, oh, okay, there are some blessings in what I've experienced.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to be thumping people with a Bible all the
No.
time.
No,
I'm just saying.
no.
Need to do a little real living once in a while with some people.
Yep.
Yep.
Markers.
Markers.
It's a churchy word.
Yeah.
I don't like
But they're
churchy
important.
words all the time, but there's something to that. By the way, this is a great time. This is a great time to remind all you youngsters, and I know there are like hundreds of thousands listening to us right now, but if you are a youngster, and I mean not like newlyweds, that sort of thing, print some of those doggone pictures out that's in your phone and put them in a photo album, because here's what's going to happen. Your grandchildren are not going to have any pictures of anything that went on
That's
if
true.
you don't start printing them out, because those digital ones, they're going to be gone and nobody's going to give a hoot about them. I'm just saying. I've had this conversation in circles recently several times about how wonderful it is to go to the grandparents' house or to the parents' house and go through these photo albums, and you see all these people that you don't know, but there's somebody sitting there, you say, who is that? And they say, well, I didn't know that was my relative. And you might even get in touch with them. But I'm telling you, if you youngsters don't start printing out some photographs,
Right.
that's not going to be a thing in maybe just one generation, certainly in 2 generations, and it's sad. So here's 2 things. Quit swaddling babies because you're torturing them mentally, and it's going to scar them the rest of their life, and print some pictures out.
At least make a book. I mean, they can print it.
Make one book.
Make a
you
book.
can
Yeah,
make
you
a
can
photo
make
book.
what's the company that
Shutterfly or
Shutterfly.
whatever.
You
There's
can
a
make a
bunch of 'em.
Shutterfly
Yeah.
of a few of them.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the end of my rant.
There you go.
HD,
Yes, sir.
how does an unsaved person become saved? I want to talk about this because I do think once in a while somebody trips upon stuff like this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's by accident. I think they trip on it because they're ready to be tripped upon it. And I think it would be a disservice not to say something about how you do that in good old country boy terms. Non-churchy
Here you go.
country
Here you
boy
go.
terms.
Right. I think the best thing to do is just stop, listen, and then come to that place where you say, you know what, God, I want to know. So reveal yourself to me, and just be honest about that. That you have a need. If you're not honest with yourself that you have a need, you're going to keep looking at yourself for the answer, or you're going to look for something else. And really, the answer to all of our problems is God. So, not to be too churchy, just basically cry out to Him. One of the cool things in this story about the Israelites, they couldn't fix their problem.
Mm-hmm.
God said, I've heard their cry.
Yep.
I've heard their cry. So cry out to God. Tell Him you can't fix your problem, because you can't. And let Him introduce Himself to you. It's really that simple.
I just heard you say something that triggered a thought in my head that I've not had before.
Wow, this should be good.
Wow.
I'm a little surprised too. I want to know.
Yeah.
You know, so many times it seems like in the church people business, you know, we're out to get more people involved. You know, that's part of what we're supposed to do. But it seems like we may not ever tell anybody it's okay for you not to, not to do the ABC booklet and all that, but just be curious. I want to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that I want to know might be that obviously if you come to the point where you're considering this, you know something is not working right somewhere, but it seems like it'd be easier just to say, I would like to know.
Yep.
I would like to know the difference than it would be to say, you know, I'm this heathen.
Right.
I need forgiveness. I need a savior. All those church things that you say. I wonder what it'd be like if somebody could just say, I just want to know.
The bottom line is you're not going to know that you're really a sinner unless God shows you that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're not going to know that you need to be saved unless God shows you that. And you're never going to know God if he doesn't reveal himself to you. So I think that part of, God, if you're real, if you're there, if you love me, because that's part of it. We don't feel like God could love us.
Mm-hmm.
If you love me, communicate that to me some way.
Yeah, show me.
Who's the guy that wrote the Case for Christ? Lee Strobel.
Yep.
I think he was in this category because he wasn't down on his hands and knees begging for forgiveness. He was curious. He wanted to know, and he researched it.
He was investigating.
And it flipped his whole world.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the guy I'm talking about right there.
Yep.
Interesting. Lee's already saved, so we got to aim this at somebody else. If you're not Lee Strobel and you're listening, or if you're Lee and you've had a little trouble lately, come back. Anyway, did we get where you wanted to go with the talk? I enjoy these talks. They always work out coincidentally.
Right.
Hey, Inny or Outty coming right up.
Okay.
Going to be exciting. Always is. They didn't say anything, but it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be.
We'll be back.
It's going to be exciting.
Hey everybody, it's time to play America's almost favoriteest new game show, Inny or Outty, where we challenge our guests to figure out if a phrase we give them is actually in the Bible or out of the Bible. Sharpen your wits, guest. You're about to be in the hot seat of Bible stuff, because you're the next contestant on Inny or Outty. Here's Mike.
Inny or Outty is so simple. Susan brought this up last week.
Yeah.
You said, there's no need to explain that. It's a simple game show, right?
Exactly.
And what did you tell them?
It's either in the Bible or it's out of the Bible.
There you go. It's very simple.
Yeah.
And so it's called,
Inny or Outty.
if it's in the Bible,
It's kind of a marketing genius. Right
Inny.
there.
It is kind of that, but listen, I can't claim credit for anything that comes out of my head because I understand I had nothing to do with it. I'm a conduit. It rolls out of there.
Gotcha.
So I just want you to know, I'm as surprised as you are. Anyway, that's Inny or Outty.
Yeah.
That might
No
be a
explanation.
good question. Conduit, is that in the Bible?
There you go.
That's a good question.
I'll give you
But
that.
I'm not in charge
Yeah.
of the questions today.
That's right.
I'm going to be a contestant. And it looks like across the table is probably in charge. Is that correct?
Yeah, she
Yeah.
can be.
Fire away. Who
Yeah.
wants to be
Go
in
ahead.
control first?
Okay. Is the term...
Isn't that just like she would do?
What?
Who wants to be in control first? And she just started talking.
Yeah.
He
As
said,
though there was no discussion.
He said she can go. He
Oh, he
said she
did? I
can
didn't
go.
hear that.
See, you're talking, not listening. He said she can go. That's what he said.
Susan Jones is now in the power seat on Inny or Outty, and she will control this segment.
Is the term bootlicking found in Scripture?
Right?
I was caught off guard.
Right. Yeah.
Would you repeat the question, please?
Is the term bootlicking found in the Bible?
Oh, can we do conduit? Is the term bootlicking.
Bootlicking.
And you're asking me and your husband to have a conversation about that.
Yeah.
Not bootlegging.
No,
No.
bootlicking. I heard what she said.
Bootlicking.
And I had,
Didn't they wear sandals back then?
well, I was thinking cowboy at first, and I'm thinking, wait, there were no cowboys.
There's no cowboys.
Were there even boots? She's setting us up to look ridiculous. I know.
Well, hey,
It's going to
it's the
work.
right place.
Also, no. Bootlicking. You know what? My gut reaction, let me tell you my honest gut reaction.
okay.
My honest to goodness gut reaction is it probably is because it's probably a trick, but I don't see any way in the world that would be in there. So, but it's a kind of a confusing gut reaction, just to
Well,
be
we
honest
talked
with you.
about last week. God told him how to flush the potty. So,
He did, and I had
true.
no idea that
Yeah,
it was
right.
in that much detail
Yeah.
in there.
yeah. So, if poop's in the Bible,
No, not the word.
well, it said excrement.
Yeah,
So
that's
probably-
a little different.
So, probably in a different, modern
Oh, that
language.
message thing or whatever that
Yeah.
one is.
Yeah, that one that guy reads in Sunday school.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, that's a different
Pictures.
That's an easy read.
one. Yeah, the message and the easy read are a little different.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay.
The easy read, I think, is sincere. The message, just anything goes.
Yep.
Which was started off for a good reason. He wanted his kid to read the Bible. So,
Yes, I think that's grand.
so do you think he put boot liquor in there? Or is
Well,
that like
now, we say all the time here in these conversations that translations do or don't matter.
I don't know.
I don't remember what we say about that.
Is this like boot liquor, like something that
She
prisoners
said
do?
bootlicking.
Prisoners make boot liquor in the cell? Or?
No, it's not liquor. It's bootlicking. As in
Yep.
down there licking on a boot. Bootlicking is the term. Is the
Would that be like soul searching?
she's having a lot of fun over here.
Get it, sole of the shoe.
That's pretty good.
Come on.
You know what else?
Okay, so let's
What
be
did your
serious
gut
for a
say?
minute. Huh?
What did your gut say?
My gut thinks it is because it's a trick. But my
Your
mind
brain.
says
There's no way.
the
God,
rational part of me says what?
There's no way God told somebody to write boot licking.
Right. See
again,
you see the predicament. You're having it too. I can see.
Yeah.
What does your gut say about bootlicking?
I'm again it.
Okay, look. I know that. Get the dust off your sandals, stuff like that's in there.
Oh yeah, kick the dust off your sandals.
I don't remember
Lick
ever
the
hearing
dust
about a boot being in the Bible.
Boots, scoot, and boogie.
But would they have fought? You know, they did a lot of fighting in the Bible. Would they have fought in sandals? It seems like that would be difficult.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I guess that's what they wore, right?
The bigger question, Susan, did they wear socks with sandals? That's the bigger question.
I know some people that do.
And they shouldn't.
Exactly. Bootlicking.
It just doesn't sound.
It doesn't sound
It
right.
doesn't sound-
It
yeah.
sounds like a trick in so many ways.
Yeah. Just go ahead and chalk
If
this
it's
up.
in there, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be hilarious.
And we're gonna do some research too.
Yeah. But to make sure she's telling
She
us the
got this
truth.
off Oprah. She saw Oprah one day.
I think we're saying Outty, aren't
Yeah,
we?
let's say Outty.
You tell her. It's your wife.
Well, since I'm usually wrong, even before I open my mouth, I think we're going with out. It's not in the
going with
Bible.
It's an Outty, Susan.
Well, okay. So
Well, okay.
it is if
Yeah.
Yeah.
it maybe wasn't a fair question. I just saw
Obviously, it was not a fair
it in
question.
terminology and I thought it was hilarious.
Well, you're
so
right.
it is in the Bible.
Really?
Proverbs 28:23.
And I noticed HT, which he
Hold
never
on.
does, he's double checking.
Hold on.
He usually just takes it as it goes. Somebody says, but he's double checking you.
Proverbs
28:23.
28.
Which version are you reading from?
Well, that's
She
where it's
does
going to
know that.
catch you a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay.
You ready?
Sure.
It says, in the end, serious reprimand is appreciated far more than bootlicking. It is in the message.
You want to hear what the ESV says?
Yeah, let's hear that version.
The
too.
ESV. Whoever rebukes a man will afterward find more favor than he who flatters with his tongue.
See? Bootlicking.
Bootlicking sounds so much more interesting.
It was more fun sounding.
So that's like flattering somebody,
yes,
bootlicking.
Oh, okay.
Then kissing up to him is basically what
Yeah, I
it's
was
saying.
going to say there was another phrase in Arkansas,
Yes,
but
yes, there's lots of phrases.
There
but
are.
Anyway,
That's
it
fascinating.
made me laugh.
Yes.
One day when I came across it,
It made
I
me
was like,
laugh.
bootlicking, who would it? But it is the message, so take
Yeah.
that for what it's worth.
Well,
it was
But-
well worth the question.
There you go.
So we
you got some laughter.
we lost.
So you
We'll
lost.
take the lose.
I guess we could say you lost. Yeah,
but not really.
but not really.
This is a conversation that you and her will have later at your home.
I would say
I
it's a
will
draw
not be in the middle of
because
that one.
it was the message. So,
Well,
Y'all discuss
okay,
this
what
later.
you got, Hughley?
Okay. It's your turn to be in the power seat now.
let me go back to my
He can't
notes.
remember what he's got.
Let me go back to my notes.
Oh, you know, one of those things like boot licking I brought up here a while back, and then I heard you or somebody used it in a sermon recently.
Frog licking?
No, it wasn't.
Frog
No, it
licking.
wasn't. It.
Finger licking?
Never mind.
That's KFC.
Carry on.
I'm getting hungry.
No, never mind.
So I'm going to go with one of my famous, which of these things is not in the Bible?
Those are always great questions,
Okay.
though.
Yeah, I like them.
Which of
Yeah.
these things is
I'm
not?
never good at them.
So a door, a cabinet, a window, a hinge, or a closet.
One more time, please.
A door, a cabinet, a window, a hinge, or a closet.
Which of them is never mentioned in the Bible?
Which of those words?
Which is an Audi.
Which
I
of
could
those
rule some
words
out.
is not in the Bible?
Okay,
Door,
what can you rule out?
Well, I think you have to have door. There's
You
too many
do.
things about going to the door.
Knocking
They
the
knocked on the
door, et cetera,
door.
et
They
cetera.
put
Is
it on
that
the
in the Bible?
doorpost.
Knocking the door we open? Is that
Well,
in-
they knocked on the door. Yeah, knocked on the door a bit. And you
Okay.
think about in Sodom and Gomorrah, they, the
Yes.
Shut the door.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Door.
doors in there. Window.
Window, obviously.
Because you had the guy that fell asleep in the window and fell out and right, or he died. What
That's
happened
a
to him? He
fable.
came out the
That's-
window.
I mean, not a fable. That's extra biblical.
Oh,
Oh, it's one of the extra books?
Yeah.
But I think
Wow.
window obviously would be.
I would say windows. And there's stuff that went in the window. Okay.
What else are you ruling out? I wouldn't rule out cabinets
Hinge.
yet.
Hinge,
Yeah. I don't
Closet.
Know about hinge.
cabinet.
My
Not
gut
sure
says closet.
Your gut says closet.
My guess is if you live in a mud hut or a,
Yeah, they maybe didn't have a closet because they didn't keep.
you don't need a
things.
closet.
Yeah.
You sit it in the
But
corner.
what would be in the Bible about a cabinet? I'm iffy on cabinet
Groceries?
too. I don't think they would have
They didn't have closets.
cabinets.
They didn't have Publix.
Because they would have probably hung their food up or something.
Cabinets
Do you have
indicates
cabinets?
a door on it, though. The closet does too.
Yeah.
Isn't it the Ark of the Cabinet?
No.
Sort of.
And why would they talk about a hinge?
Well, using an analogy, this door swings this way and on the hinge. I'm making stuff up.
Yes, you are.
He came unhinged.
He came unhinged, right? Your life is
Yeah.
hinge. Hinge is probably it.
I don't know. There's several things.
Now wait,
feel
hinge would
solid
have
on
been
the
kind of a
others.
complicated metal contraption. Could you make a hinge?
But
in
they
that?
could have had something else hinged.
Oh.
A gate, probably. A gate would have
Simple,
had to have
yeah.
some kind of hinge.
Simple hinge.
So then we're back to cabinet and closet, maybe.
At an old barn at my granddad's original home place, I have, matter of fact, up here on my wall, that guitar, I didn't have anything to do one morning, and I went out in the garage and I took an old little guitar I had, stripped it down, painted it, took some hay baling wire, made some strings. You see that piece of a horseshoe out here on the end? That's a hinge off a barn from about 1800.
Okay.
That's how they made the hinges. They made them out of horseshoes.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what that is. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun
Yeah.
educational.
They would have had to have hinges because your door had to open.
Right.
I mean, you had to have some kind of a hinge.
But did they mention it in the Bible?
I don't know. But cabinet and closet, I'm not sure about that either.
Cabinet and closet sounds modern. Like I said, when you're living like they probably lived.
Yeah.
A closet, though, I can't picture a closet at all.
I'm kind of leaning towards closet because they did have to have something they maybe called a cabinet to put their
sit
dishes.
there, right.
They had to have cups. They had cups. We know they had cups and stuff.
Had to have a place to sit them.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't put those in a closet.
No, you would not put those in the closet. I'm leaning towards closet.
Yeah, we're leaning towards closet. Like,
Okay.
there's no prom dress that you would need to keep in,
the closet.
right?
Did they come out of the closet?
Or were there skeletons? You see how quickly I'm getting you out of that
Yeah,
one?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Closet?
Closet.
We believe HD. No, you tell him. It's your
Okay.
husband.
I think it's closet, baby. What
He's
do you
an
think?
Audi baby.
I'm
It's
hoping
an Audi, baby.
I'm hoping he'll tell me I'm right regardless. I say it real nice.
Oh, you're buttering him up. I see now.
Actually,
Baby honey.
I don't think that works the
Oh
same
no,
when I
we're
do
wrong.
Actually-
we're wrong.
Cabinet.
Oh.
It's not in
Really? Is that it? That's all your
That's it.
explanation?
Yep.
Where does it talk about a closet?
Ooh. I don't know if
Next
you're
time,
watching
yourself.
this episode
Next time
or
on
not,
Mike the
but you
Baptist.
need to go back and watch it because the way she looked at him and said, "Where's it talk about
Well,
it in the?"
I look at it as sort of a win. We got down to two of the. One of
pretty
them was
good.
the right one,
Yeah,
so we
that's
ruled
pretty
out.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
it was
that's
bootlicking fun.
Bootlicking fun right there. Okay, so cabinet does not
Cabinet.
show up
Cabinet
in
is
the.
not in the Bible. Well, we were 50. No, y'all, you were all wrong.
Totally. Yeah, that's the trouble when you're not asking one of the questions. You're gonna.
Yeah.
Stand
You're
a chance
probably
to
One
go.
way or the other.
I'm a double not
You're
spy.
probably gonna go belly up a little. I would like to know where it is, like her, where it talks
We're
about a
talking about
closet. Do you mind looking it up real quick?
I don't.
He would love
Our
to.
new shorter version, we've got a couple minutes.
He would love to.
Anybody that's made it this far in this anyway is not going anywhere.
I bet
yet.
they want to know.
They wanna
Where
know.
is
I
closet?
wanna know.
I want to know where Hinge is in the Bible.
Well, I do too. I'm gonna look some of that up too later.
What am I working up?
Closet.
See, isn't this neat about Inny or Outty? These things you
Yeah.
never would have thought
I
of.
really do like his questions that are like that.
I
They
like
really
the
make you
multiple.
think.
Yeah, I like the multiple.
One of my favorites was at Christmas. Didn't he have Christmas terms that were like wreath and all that?
He
See,
did.
I can prove that I
did.
really listen.
And he had the animals at the manger. I think was one of them too,
Yeah, I think you're right.
which is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, I like those questions. They're interesting. Good job, babe.
You're welcome.
Good job, babe.
But where's closet?
But prove it. Yes,
I had to be right.
the world is waiting. I think I'll start the music back up.
Da, da, da.
Yeah. I'll have to do some more research.
Okay,
on
that's
that.
fine.
I have to do some more research on that.
I kind of saw this coming up,
Yeah.
but I couldn't find a way to get you out of it.
I'll have to do some more research. Because here's what's funny. What came up, it said closest. And I'm like, wait, did I misread? Did I misread? I thought it said closet and it said closest.
That's possible.
Okay, a future
Yep.
Inny or Outty.
Well, that was fun.
It was. Regardless, it's fun. And see, you're just human, H.
That's it.
That's why I wrote common as a stick.
Right.
Because
I am.
you are.
I'll do some research.
Okay, so there was like one win, one loss there, or was it both losses? Or
Who
Both
cares?
losses. Y'all were wrong about bootlicking, and we were wrong about
Yeah.
exactly.
closet.
You heard it here.
Yep.
double knot.
We'll take a break, come back and tell you goodbye in a little more civilized fashion.
Will we?
Nope, but it's a good thought.
Oh, wow. What a great contestant and a fine sport today on Inny or Outty, America's almost favorite new game show. Study up, future guest people. You're next in the hot seat for Inny or Outty.
Thank you for joining us today on Mike the Baptist. Thank you to H.D. Jones and wife Susan Jones.
You bet.
Do you ever get tired of people saying, and this is his wife?
No.
Well, just for you, I'm going to redo this.
Okay.
Thank you for Susan Jones. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And your husband, H.D. Did that feel good?
That's awesome.
No,
It just seems
I
fair.
didn't know where you were going with that, so I feel pretty good about that.
You should. Hey, thanks for joining us. Hope you come back next time. This has been fun with someone,
With a couple.
with a couple. A couple plus one. Just, the mix. I like the mix.
The
It's
mix.
interesting. Yeah. Anyway, we were laughing last time because I was trying
Don't even say
I was trying to
it.
explain it in ways and it didn't sound right. But anyway, so it still doesn't.
2 guys and a chick, I think is
I think that 2 dudes
pretty
and a
good.
chick.
2 dudes and a chick.
It worked. So
Three's Company, wasn't that a sitcom? Three's Company?
Three's Company.
yeah, but that was 2 chicks and a dude.
Yeah.
This is just a modern version.
Okay, so anyway, thanks for being with us. We hope you'll come back again after this. And, yes, we just hope you come back. Remember, folks, we're all just Christians.
Trying not to.
Cuss.
There you go.
Teamwork. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, see you next time.
Mike the Baptist.